Hey everyone, this is Elise from Cycle 9. So every once in a while I come across funny stories that have to do with biking, and this was one actually that my mom sent to me, and it put a big smile on my face. I thought it was a really great story, and she thought of me because it's something that we can relate to, as you will find out. So I'm just going to read this story because I think you'll enjoy it as well, and I hope that it puts a smile on your face as well. This is an excerpt from a book called The Metal Cowboy that's written by Joe Kermansky, a biker and rider in Portland, Oregon, and it was excerpted in Adventure Cyclist magazine. It's called Mistaken Identity. The SUV pulled even with us at the intersection. Rain splashed from the wipers as she brought the electric window down to say something to me. I'd like to help. Who among touring cyclists hasn't been mistaken for the homeless? We haul our worldly possessions from town to town, putting our show on the road for weeks at a time. Okay, maybe it hasn't happened to you. Perhaps your gear is always showroom new. Maybe showering and shaving are a regular part of your routine, and the Lycra across your back has people thinking sponsorship rather than soup kitchen. But the rest of us, with the broken rain jacket zipper that we've been meaning to fix, we've pretended not to notice the faces of sympathy or disgust as we pedal along. Only I wasn't on tour this time. I was rolling down the streets of my hometown, Portland, Oregon, with my preschool-aged son, Quinn, in tow. If there is anywhere in America that a morning commute to preschool by bike wouldn't get a second glance, it's Portland. Portland today, that is. 8 years ago, I had the streets to myself, not another family on bike in sight. I was the only daddy on two wheels. Owing to the career I've chosen, I didn't maintain much of a dress code, and a rider who hasn't gone a week without shaving just isn't trying hard enough. Besides, the pajama bottoms gave the appearance of plaid pants if you didn't look too hard. To make matters worse, that morning I was donating art supplies to the preschool. I had an easel sticking out of the back of the chariot trailer, and various brushes and paint containers puffing up my panniers. Quinn had not allowed me to remove the pool noodles or parade streamers from celebrations earlier in the year, so we were a pretty high-profile ride, a soggy float long after the party had ended. And suddenly there she was. She leaned out of the window, heat blowing, radio playing classical music. I came closer, rain dripping off my helmet. "Look at your little one sleeping in the trailer like that." I smiled back, unaware of the thoughts in her head. Which would help more, clothing or money? I was so thrown by the question that I paused to let it compute. Was she asking if I needed charity? She shook her head as if to dispel the insensitivity of her question. Take both." She handed me a bag of clothes before I could react, a $20 bill on top. "I was dropping these at Goodwill, but you could put them to use right now." She was trying unsuccessfully not to stare at my pajama bottoms. The rubber band securing the right cuff was actually one of my wife's hair scrunchies. I tried to hand the bag back, but she was already pulling away. "There are some signature kids' clothes at the bottom," she yelled back. I shook my head, but by then she was just taillights. And here I thought the 5 o'clock shadow thing was working for me in a George Clooney sort of way. I had a good laugh with the other parents at the preschool. One dad said, "See, that's what happens when you ride the bike loaded down with stuff." In years since, Portland streets have filled with extracycles, Bachfeets, trailer-bikes, and trailers, to the point where a morning drop-off at a local school or pick-up at the end of the day boasts more SUBs than SUVs in the parking lot. In other parts of the country, though, I might still be mistaken for a homeless gent pulling his kid behind him. But with advocacy, infrastructure, and perhaps better hygiene, we could make it commonplace to see families on bikes, using them as transportation and gas-free vacations. Then I'll be just another fashion-impaired dad on a bike. And for the record, the hair scrunchie still works well in a pinch. So that's Joe Kermansky in his book, The Metal Cowboy. I hope that put a smile on your face, and enjoy the day. Thanks.